Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, welcome to USA Global TV and Radio. My name is Caroline Heward and I'm known as the Harley Street Stress Expert. Our show today is Talking Heads and I'm the expert presenter in today's topic, which is the psychology of bullying, which is part of the mind and body connection. Let's begin. I always love to start my presentations with a quote because I feel that it sets the scene. So today is no different, especially as this is quite a challenging subject for many. And this quote today is by Jackie Chan, the famous martial art. I allowed myself to be bullied because I was scared and don't know how to defend myself. I was bullied until I prevented a new student from being bullied. By standing up for him, I learned to stand up for myself. Jackie Chan. I found that was a very powerful quote by Jackie Chan because you don't really associate Jackie Chan with somebody that was bullied because he was such an incredible person in his own right and brought martial arts to the Western culture. But, this is where we find out that sometimes our biggest advocates are usually skilled in the area that they're skilled in because they have the biggest challenges to overcome. So R.I.P. Jackie Chan. Here's another quote which I found really, really powerful by Andre Dubus. As a young victim of bullying and then later a vindictive perpetrator of violence myself, I've known both sides of this experience, and I tried very hard in the writing here to be as absolutely honest as I possibly could, to not romanticize myself or my past actions or cowardly interactions in any way. Andre Dubus. And this is what can happen to people, that somebody who has been bullied can become in later years the perpetrator, the person who becomes the bully. And this is very likely in many instances. And sometimes that doesn't happen, but it's more likely than not because they have been bullied as a child. And so in their adulthood, they learn to stand up for themselves and fight their corner. So I want to look at the four different types of specific bullying, because in order to cure, to solve, and to become witness to the bullying, whether you're being persecuted by being bullied or whether you are the persecutor of somebody that is actually bullying someone else, to be witness is the first place that you can step into to solve the problems, to find a resolution. And so I feel it's very important in understanding bullying as a behaviour in ourselves or in others to actually become a witness to understanding how and what is bullying and how it can affect us. So there are four main types of bullying. And we can look at the first one, which is physical. So this is when somebody is physically attacked. So somebody is actually physically being hit upon, or punched, kicked, or bruised, or somebody indeed that is actually being sexually abused is a physical form of abuse. So this is very physical on the body, and when somebody is bullying, especially if it's in a relationship, what they will do is, it's a very known concept, to actually bruise the person in places that are not seen or can't be seen so easily, around the tummy area, or below in the leg area, or below the jumper line or the trouser line. And so if there's domestic violence, for instance, which is a form of bullying, then the person is subject to very physical forms of abuse, including sexual abuse. And at the same time, it's one of those aspects of bullying that is very difficult to talk about and to express to other people, because there's a shame behind this type of bullying that the person can't stand up for themselves. Also, in this type of bullying, it can actually stretch across both women as well as men. You will be surprised how many men are physically abused in relationships, and it doesn't get talked about because it's not a thing. And I say that in inverted commas, it's not a thing that people want to admit to, that they have been physically abused within their relationship. They might be hit upon or slapped or punched or kicked in a relationship. And this is certainly, as a child in the playground, this can happen, where groups of children can beat upon the person, and there's some status behind that in terms of the bullier. So physical abuse is one of the most significant of the forms of bullying, and it is the most detrimental form of bullying, because the scars, the broken bones, and the bruises take time to heal. Now, another form of bullying is verbal bullying, where, you may have heard the phrase, sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. But verbal abuse can really get to you, especially if you are being bullied on a daily basis, whether if you're a child in the playground, or at home with your parents, or with your siblings. This is a regular form of abuse that can actually wear you down. And this is where, if you're told, even as a child, oh, you're too stupid, you're too sensitive, you're too not okay for this, you're not good enough. If you hear those words often enough, then you begin to believe that this is true for you. And so when people are actually hearing those words time and time again in different situations, especially if they're at home, then it becomes challenging for the person, because they lose their sense of identity, because they start to identify with what's being said to them, what's being called out to them. And if you hear something often enough, you start to take it on, because our words are very powerful, and words create experiences. Our thoughts create experiences. And even with verbal communication of bullying, there can be also a non-verbal communication of bullying, where it could be a look or a glare, or somebody just opening their mouth to say something when you know that they're going to abuse you in public, especially, and then they kind of clamp down, and this is a form of control. So there is the non-verbal abuse in bullying, as well as the understood verbal bullying. And this non-verbal bullying can take the form of interaction in terms of our physical interaction with each other. And it can also take the form of the person having that terrible look, or the stare, or the rolled eyes, where you have done wrong. Social bullying. This is where you will be discounted from groups. You will not be felt or invited to parties or as part of the group norm. And this can be very, very debilitating in terms of your self-esteem and confidence if you are literally ostracized from your social surroundings of your friendships, your family, and other people around you that you would normally be hanging out with. The social form of bullying is also related to emotional bullying. And so this is where somebody will be emotionally bullying you into doing things or not doing things. And this can cause a detrimental effect on your self-esteem, your confidence, because you are ostracized from your environment of safety. And so then the emotional bullying steps in where you have no one to turn to. And so there is almost then, from the perspective of the person being bullied, a no way out. They're isolated in their experiences of the emotional bullying. And finally, the fourth form of bullying is cyberbullying. Now, this is something that's in our current times, that we are now much more open and exposed to somebody cyberbullying. And cyberbullying means exactly what it sounds like, that somebody can actually reach out from the computer and steal you away. And it can cause terrible problems and get you into a terrible state. I just need to plug in my battery, so please bear with me. For some unknown reason, I didn't plug it in. My apologies. So cyberbullying can actually have a detrimental effect on you because it's not just placed in the environment, in your work or school or family. It also can get you in your home, in your bedroom, when you're having dinner, tea with your family. So this is a very personalized case of bullying where they can really climb in through your computer, through your phone, and reach in, and it can affect you. Now, cyberbullying also can be related to cyber stalking, where somebody can stalk you through the computer, through social media, and through your environments where normally you would feel safe and secure. And in that feeling safe and secure, and you're not feeling safe and secure, this will lead to untold measures of you feeling unsafe, unsecure, which will affect your foundations and your stability. But more importantly than that is that when you don't feel safe and secure in your home, in your normal safe environments, through the computer, through your social media, and people are stalking you, it actually has a detrimental effect on your mental health as well as your physical health. So the effects of bullying can affect you deeply emotionally and mentally, because when you are being bullied, the focus of that bullying can affect your thoughts. You're constantly thinking about the next attack or the time of the attack, and the thoughts are running around in your mind, and then you're taken over by the thoughts. What is very powerful from this perspective is that when you are struggling with your mental health, it affects every single other part of your life. When you are not feeling comfortable mentally, when you are not feeling safe mentally, it affects absolutely everything that you do, everything you think, everything you believe, and you will start to act as a victim in all sorts of situations. And when you start to act and you walk and talk like a victim, you will then experience other forms of bullying from different people because you become the vibration of the victim. And in that vibration of victimhood, you will then naturally land up being attacked by different people in different ways, rather than just the singular form of bullying from the one person. Obviously, it affects your self-esteem and your self-confidence and your power within the situation to be able to resolve it. Self-esteem belongs in the solar plexus, and the solar plexus is about your confidence, your power, your fire to be able to cope with things. And it's also affects your sight, your seeing into the experience and being able to resolve it. And all of this will be taken out of context. And eventually, when self-esteem is low, it can lead to somebody taking other measures, such as self-harming or having suicidal thoughts of not living anymore because they're looking for a way out. But these things all lead to the person that is being bullied moving into a state of withdrawal, a state of withdrawal from life, from their current experiences, and from their normal safe haven of their social friendships, family, and relationships. And that withdrawal can make them feel even more isolated. Now, I've been talking from the perspective of the person being bullied, and I'm going to turn my attention to how these behaviours come about. So I'm going to look at what's behind the behaviour of the person that's wagging their finger at you. What's behind the behaviour of the person that's bullying you? And this you'll find extremely interesting because it will change your view of the person that's bullying. It will change your perception of what you thought was really terrible, and it will change your perspective of you thinking that the person who's bullying is the person that's really, really in control. Now, the person that's wagging their finger at you is struggling with anger management. They will be challenged with high levels of anger within them. Now, if it's an adult person that's bullying, this can stem from having been bullied as a child. And so this will become what they would be, it's a learnt behaviour. So they would have learnt this behaviour from their family, their peers, their school, their environment. And then they work out that this is the way that it is. So if I'm being bullied, I have to become the person who bullies to enable myself to live and survive. But that isn't a great place to live and survive, because behind the bullying, they will be in a strong level of anger. And when the person is angry, they are actually not in control. They're not living, they're only existing through the space of anger. Now, the other part of the person that's bullying is that they are in the Darwinian phase of the survival of the fittest. They are in that space of believing that you have to be competitive to be on top. You have to push the other people down so that you shine. They do not believe in their psychology of understanding of the world that we are all equal. And they believe that in standing on your shoulders and making you look small, that they look grand and they look better. Actually, it's far from the truth that that is the case. And so they are putting on in the morning when they go out, whether it's to work or to school, they're putting on a suit of armour. And this suit of armour says, no one can get at me. I'm going to control this. I'm going to put my suit of armour on and control that no one hurts me. No one is going to get to me. And I want you to just take a breath in this moment to understand what it must be like for that person, that they're on the defensive as soon as they wake up in the morning. And we don't know what's gone on in their life. We don't understand what's happened to them as a child. We don't understand what's happened to them in terms of what kind of abuse they've experienced at home with siblings, or as a child growing up in a care home, or in an uncomfortable environment. We don't know. But what we do know is that when we're all born, we're born with no mind. We're born pure, and we're born with an immense amount of heart and compassion. And something changes, something happens. And when we have to handle difficult things, we put on the suit of armour. And the suit of armour that we put on changes the way that we see the world, because it's our protection. The body is a natural protection mechanism, and it will protect you against any form of hurt or pain. Any form, emotional, physical, mental, or behavioural. It will protect you always. Now, what's happened in the person that's bullying is that they have shut down their emotions and feelings. They are not living, they are existing through the mind. Survival of the fittest is a place of competition. Darwinian created this concept of competition so that I win, you lose. But what about if you win, I win, and we all win? What about that as a concept? Because it's possible. But when people grow up, especially in families where they are surviving, their emotions and feelings are completely shut down. They're not experiencing life in the way that you experience. They're experiencing life in a threatening way. They are walking through life as if they have a saber-toothed tiger that's going to attack them. So they are always on the defense. They're not experiencing that sensitivity of pleasure and desire in life. They're always on the back foot, moving towards getting onto the front foot so that they protect themselves. And the bully always has a past of being bullied, of being persecuted themselves. The bullies generally have come from being a victim themselves. And this is what they've learned to protect themselves and move into a state of protection. And that's what they've learned. They've learned that they've been bullied, and so therefore they have to protect themselves from being bullied from other people. What's behind this behaviour here? The schoolgirls in the playground bullying a girl that's isolated. This is belonging. We all need to belong. We all desire to belong to some level of social status. We need that belongingness. And if we don't feel that we belong, we feel isolated. And that is one of the human needs that we require to survive in life. And what you can see here in the top picture is that the two girls that are clearly bullying the girl that's isolated, they are in a pact of belonging. Now, sometimes this behaviour appears because the two girls here in the picture might also be feeling left out. So they've joined together because they see this as a learnt behaviour to become in control again. And children, they generally learn from the adults that are around them, their peers. They generally learn from the family, their siblings. And it's not something that we're born with. It's something that we learn from others around us. It definitely isn't when you're first born. You're born goo and gaga with no mind. And you were not born in this way. This is a Darwinian approach, survival of the fittest. But we don't need to live in this space of surviving. We can all come together and live in a space of harmony by celebrating each other, because we are all connected. In the lower picture, you see two men clearly in a boardroom situation where it looks like the boss is being bullied, picked on by one of the staff. And perhaps the boss has been bullying the member of staff, showing him up. And this is confrontation. This is a very physical, abusive, confrontational experience of a bully. Sometimes when we stand up to that kind of confrontation, it can be really, really difficult and challenging. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But this is a behaviour that's experienced in many workplaces. The corporate bullying is very much understood in the corporate world. And it is an experience that many have experienced in their time. I certainly have experienced corporate bullying to the point that I was always having to prove myself to people, prove my value, prove my worth. And then when I proved my value and proved my worth and proved that I was good enough, then I was also bullied because there was jealousy. And many people that watched on and witnessed, because this is the other side of it, the people that witnessed the bullying, when they witnessed it, and I had those calm and quiet words whispered in my ear, the word that kept coming up was jealousy. They are jealous of you. They are jealous that you did a great job and they couldn't do what you did. And this is something that happens certainly in the corporate world, that people are given opportunities in their corporate environment to deliver projects, to deliver their work in very high task-driven environments, and they don't succeed. And when somebody does, they take it personally and become jealous of the other person's experiences of success. I myself have been quite shocked at how that portrays in the environment of corporate, and I've been shocked at how rife it is. But this started in the playground. And before that, it probably started in the home. And before that, it started with the parents or the siblings. But somewhere it started in young childhood to reach adulthood as a way, the only way to achieve what they need to achieve. So remembering that this is a survival game. And all that's happened is the person that's bullying hasn't learnt we're all connected, that we're all one. And when they learn that we're all connected, things change for them. They get more. They will experience more pleasure in their life. If you are that person that has been persecuted, you will understand how hard it is to see from this perspective. Now that person is persecuting you because at some point they were persecuted themselves. Because this behaviour is learnt. And for the person that has been the persecutor, the person that bullies, this person is surviving being persecuted as a child. And I want you to just sit with that, to understand how that changes your perspective and your witnessing of this behaviour. So this is how repeating patterns emerge. The victim sometimes becomes the bully, and vice versa. The bully can sometimes become the victim. And it is about your vibration. If you are vibrating at the vibration of the victim, you will attract more people that will create that state of being in victim space. Because your vibration depicts what happens. And if you are in the victim space of being bullied, you will attract bullying on all sorts of levels. You will be surprised how much our words and our actions create our vibration. So how can we change this? How can we move out of that victimness of being bullied or being the persecutor of the bullying? By making a decision, by changing what we feel is important to us. Do we have to win? Or can we live in harmony? Or have we learnt it? And can we choose, because this is the answer to it, can we choose a different place of experiencing life? Yes, we can. We can choose a very different place to experience life through the heart chakra. And when you move into the heart chakra, you move into a place of compassion for yourself as well as others. And much more is achieved from this place of compassion. You might think that to be in one-upmanship and to be the bully is a powerful position. And I trust that I've shared with you that this position is really not very powerful at all. This position of being the bully is also the position of being the victim too, somewhere in their lives. I don't know whether you've ever heard the concept of inner critic, but we tend to feed ourselves with concepts and words that even our own worst enemy wouldn't say to us. We become our own worst persecutor in the way that we talk to ourselves. Now, if you are one of those people that doesn't feel good enough or worthy enough or strong enough or brave enough or big enough or gorgeous enough or beautiful enough, if you feel not enough, that inner critic will be your personal bully. Let me say that again. If you are not feeling good enough, your personal inner critic will feed you enough mental lines and emotional abuse for you to suffer at the hands of your personal inner critic. Many people that bully are bullying people for significance, and vice versa. There is an opportunity for the person that is being victimized, being bullied, being persecuted, to gain also a level of significance. What do I mean by significance? Our right to be here, and it's one of the human needs to have significance in our lives. And for some people, they have a significance in being the perpetrator because they will feel in control. But as I've quite rightly outlined, there is no control in bullying at all, because the bully is really a victim somewhere else. The significance is to gain control in their life. But what about this? There's no control in that state of being, whether you're the bully or the victim. If you have an attachment to being the victim, that will give you significance. If you have an attachment to being the bully and being the persecutor, that can give you significance. And significance is one of our human needs to survive. It's one of the human needs that we need to have. How are you gaining your significance? One of the things that I do is I like to help people. That gives me significance. And that's what all of my trainings are about. I want to help people because I want to leave a legacy of changing people's lives for the better. That gives me significance. And that gives me a positive state of significance rather than a negative state of significance. We are our own worst critic. So my invitation to you is to feed yourself, to literally drench yourself in compassion, and to choose compassionate things for yourself. When you are compassionate to yourself and honour your own self-worth, you will be amazed what can happen in your life. You will be incredulized how much kinder your life will become for you. Whether you are the victim or the person that is the persecuting one, you will have a greater and better life. Sometimes we just need to become a witness, to understand why, to understand how, and to understand what you can do to change things. If you walk around as a victim, you will be surprised how much victim experience you will experience in your life. My invitation to you is to be open, to be in a place of trust, in a place of non-judgment, and in a place of heart and compassion for yourself and those around you, in your family, your friends, your community, your work, your colleagues, your social environments, to be open to live, to be open to experience life just as nature intended. I want to finish with a quote from Shay Mitchell. And I found this quote very, very powerful. I realized that bullying never has to do with you. It's the bully who's insecure. Let me say that again. I realized, says Shay Mitchell, that bullying never has to do with you. It's the bully who's insecure. And this is the whole concept of understanding how being in the space of the bully and being bullied can affect your life if you allow it. And this is the point. If you allow someone in, it's possible for you to become the victim. So my invitation for you is to fill your heart up to the top with love, with compassion for yourself and others, to fill your heart with true inner peace for yourself and for the world. And in this space, we will rid the world of bullying and we will move into a place of inner peace, world peace, and inner harmony. Thank you for your attention and your interest. Please subscribe to USA Global TV and Radio. You will find all of our Talking Heads episodes under the playlist Talking Heads 2022 for last year and 2023. You will find all my Talking Heads episodes for 2022 under my name, Caroline Heward. Please do reach out to me if I may be of service to you. I offer a free telephone consultation or on Zoom, Skype, if you're comfortable with video. You can reach me on nomore@live.co.uk or reach out and call me on +44 if you're international, 0 if you're local, 7523 120 189. I am here to serve, to help you understand, become witness, and change your experiences so that you live your best life as nature intended. Thank you. I honour you and I challenge you to become the best version of you by moving to a place of your greatest inner peace.